Wake Up Call DT. That's where you're listening live. You're watching and listening on Facebook.com/Wake Up Call DT, Facebook.com/Live Now DT, and on YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT. So, however you're connecting with the show, we thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So, we thank you for being here, of course, inside of these amazing and incredible and always there for filling up your cup right Cafe Kubal Studios. Love Cafe Kubal. So want to give a big shout out to them and make sure that we get them here for us. And so big shout out to the Cafe Kubal Studios, and thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Cafe Kubal here with you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners for their drive-through location in North Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So please make sure that you get yourself out to Cafe Kubal today and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. With that being said, inside of MonPosPopcorn.com is what's popping. We got plenty of show coming up for you. For those of you that know our Friday broadcast, you know the trio of signature segments we bring to you every single Friday. And for those of you that don't, I'm more than happy to let you know that we have the annoying moment of the week coming up in just a minute here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and it has to do why the show started a few minutes back today. So we'll talk about the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we will jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver with today's topic of being the bigger person. We'll talk about that, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And then we will jump into the top dog of the week. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, which will be honoring the Syracuse living legend, in my opinion, Mr. Rob Konrad, who went on to play for the Miami Dolphins. Very excited to have Rob Konrad on the show. We were supposed to have him last week, and he had a schedule change here, so now we're happy that we are able to get him on here in about an hour's time, around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll round out today's show with an all-new Pacer Pride, featuring someone who is no stranger to the broadcast, Mr. Enrico Mastroianni, who will be joining the show. Enrico joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time for an all-new Pacer Pride with the Marywood Pacers men's basketball head coach, speaking on giving to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. He is currently within a campaign right now to give back to leukemia and lymphoma, and you can do that $1. Literally anything is worth a donation. So be it $1, $2, $100, $1,000, whatever it may be. We'll be talking about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and why you should give back today, and to his campaign directly as he looks to help leukemia and lymphoma. So we'll be discussing all of that this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So very happy to be here with you, and always happy to have some time every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. So with that being said, we're going to hop right into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like, and an all-new Sunday brought to you exclusively by Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will be coming to you very soon, and we're very excited about it. We are waiting on one final piece to make it truly special, and that should be coming in very, very soon. And once that is, we'll be over there to unveil it, and can't wait for you to try it. In the meantime, grab the Wake Up Call Sunday with my signature cookie dough pieces and caramel swirl exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. With that being said, it's time for the annoying moment of the week.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
the annoying moment of the week here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. My annoying moment of the week, like I said, had to do with this morning and technology. You know, some of us have Rokus, some of us have Fire Sticks and whatnot, and when you're trying to type something in, it's not always as easy as simply typing it in. And that was the that was the problem this morning. The problem this morning was trying to get it typed in. And then you have it typed in, and then I had to pick, there was previous or next. Now, when you type in a password, a username, you would think what? That the next place to go is next, right? Not previous, because previous would delete what you formerly said. Well, that wasn't the case this morning. Today was backwards day. And on backwards day, when I hit next, nothing would happen. Then I would hit previous, and it would have everything I typed in, and then I would have to hit let's go from there, or whatever it is from there. Then I had to put in, you get the code, the extra sense of security and whatnot, and you get the code, and once you get the code, you're trying to put the code in. When you're trying to put the code in, so once I hit the code in, I was getting like down, and I wanted to put like, don't ask me again, so I don't have to go through this the next time I turn my TV on. So I'm clicking on don't ask me this again, and it's going down to resend a code. Send a code by email, send a code by phone. So I got 4 codes when I needed 1 code. Then when I got the code and I would put it in, then it would go, well, send a code again. And I'm like, no, I'm clicking verify. Then I finally was able to do it and click verify. It worked. But in order for me to get my seat, because I'm big on in my studio office area, I'm really, really big on having my TV on the wall. So you can't see it. It's across here. But I love having my TV on the wall and, having that mounted there. It just looks really cool. It's awesome. It's, and I can watch information in real time, see what different things are coming up and whatnot, as we've been able to break a lot of stories on Wake Up Call over, the last many years that we've done this. I've been able to break a lot on the show. So, thankful that a lot of stuff has happened during the broadcast, including Syracuse joining the ACC. So, the good thing here is, having the TV on the wall, it gives me the opportunity, like I said, to have the information instantaneously. And having that up here has been really helpful. But in order to get that up here today, I had to set everything up. So you set up the Fire Stick, you set up getting on to, you set up making sure the right HDMI, then you go on there, then you wait for it to load, then you click on what apps you need, then once you have that, then you go to log in, then the login didn't work, then you had to go back, then you had to log in again, then the login went through the username, then the login went through the password, then the login went through the phone number, but it didn't go through the phone number because then it wasn't telling me what the cursor was over, so the cursor was clicking on send a new link, and I didn't want to send a new link. So with all of that, that is my annoying moment of the week, because it's annoying to have to deal with this stuff. And sometimes, listen, technology, it's a big part of what we do here on Wake Up Call, right? I mean, technology it's how we're here right now. It's how we're talking to you. It's how we're hanging out this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So that, technology is obviously a huge part of what we do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Without the technology, obviously you're not on the internet. Without the internet, we're not on here getting to you worldwide. You're not able to watch us anywhere in the world. You're not able to listen to us anywhere in the world. So, technology is a part of my daily life and everything that I do here with the show and beyond. So we need things to work. And unfortunately, it's not always kind. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out the way that we want it to. And with that being a reality, here we are this morning trying to get some things out to you, and it was taking time to get things set here in the studio. And that happens. That's just something that goes on. It's something that we live with. It's something that is a reality, and we got to navigate through it, right? You got to roll with the punches. And it's my annoying moment of the week because, as I described it, it was highly annoying to describe. So it's definitely the annoying moment of the week, and I appreciate the fact that, we got to share that here this morning with you. And, I did have I had another annoying moment of the week. And, the other one that I had here was going to, be with reliability, right? People aren't always reliable, and you can't always count on people. It's hard to find good people. I talk to business owners all the time that have people calling in or they don't show up. I had one business owner train somebody for weeks just to have that person on their first day not come in. And why would you train at a job for 2 weeks and then not show up for the job? Doesn't make any sense, but that was the case. So we live in a world where, this happens from time to time, and we get put in these situations, unfortunately. So, for me, it's hard to find reliable people, just like it's hard for many of you watching and listening to find reliable people. People who say what they're going to do. See, if I say I'm going to do something and I don't get it done at the time that I'm supposed to get it done and whatnot, that stays on my brain. It stays in my mind. It continues to weigh on me because I have to get that done for you, because I gave you my word, I gave you my promise. And so I wake up with that in the back of my head every single day. Well, not everybody's like that. Not everybody lives like that. And for me, I can't help but live like that. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I'm about, right? I want people to do what they say they're going to do when it comes to me. So I have to do what I say I'm going to do when it comes to them. And we don't always get that with the people that we deal with. And so that's another annoying moment of the week, because my thing is, when I set something up and I have it set and it's there, I understand emergencies happen. I understand things come up. But when it's an every week thing or it starts to become a habit, then you look at it and you say, okay, well, what do you do with this person? Do you keep this person in this role? Do you keep them doing this because they're not really reliable? And if they're not reliable, then, what's the point of doing it? And that is, it's going to lead, ironically, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver on being the bigger person today. But, that is another annoying moment of the week for me is having people that you can rely on day in and day out. I don't know why it's hard, right? Growing up as a kid, for me, I couldn't go to Disney. When I was working at Disney, I couldn't go to Disney and be good half the time. I couldn't show up for work on time half the time. I couldn't be good to the, guests that we had a quarter of the time, a third of the time, 3 times a month. You had to be good on it all the time. You had to be on your A game all the time. You had to constantly be ready for what was coming your way. And I don't understand today's world where people think like, okay, you know what? If I show up to work, like if I'm supposed to work Monday through Friday and I show up Monday through Thursday and then I don't show up on Friday, like that's okay because I did 4 out of 5 days. No, that's not how this works. It's not okay to do 4 out of 5 days. It's okay to do every day because that's what you signed up for and that's what you agreed to. And that's what you need to do. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. So, for me, I really struggle with that when, I have to listen to people that I know saying like, hey, we called this person into work. They showed up they showed up today. They didn't show up the next day. I can't rely on this person to come to work every day. And that is an unfortunate that we live in today, right? Is making sure that we have people doing what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it and keeping their word to us when they say that they're going to do something. It's imperative that somebody does that. It's important that somebody does that somebody actually does what they say they're going to do. And I know that might sound crazy to some of us, but that's the reality that we live in, right? You're supposed to do what you agreed to do. And when people agree to do something and they think, well, I don't have to do it, that's the problem in society today. You do have to do it. When you say you're going to do something, then you need to do it. And if you can't do it, if something comes up, if something arises, again, that happens, but you have to make sure that you have something put in place, something you can do, something that you can make right on that, right? Like if I was sick, right, and I didn't feel good, and thanks to Russell this morning, always good to see you, Russ, and appreciate you being a part of the show and being a supporter of what we do here on Wake Up Call. So thank you very much for, he put #truth, and I appreciate that. But, it is a reality in the world that we live in today. If you say you're going to do something, then you have an obligation to do it. And as I stated, yes, there are things that come up. There are problems that arise. And it is up to you when those problems arise or those moments happen. Like, I have a thing with my company, and that's what I was getting at here. I have a thing with my company where if I'm sick and I can't come to a specific event that I promised I would come to, then I have to make that up, right? I have to facilitate how I'm going to bring that. If I can't do it on this Tuesday, okay, like we live in a COVID world, right? So I had COVID within these past couple of years, and when I had it, I had to move things around, right? And so I don't just say, well, if I'm supposed to be there Tuesday at 6, I don't just not show up Tuesday at 6. I call, I text, I do whatever I got to do. So number one, I get in touch with them in advance. I let them know that I'm not going to be there. And then I work to reschedule the event. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But these people are like, no, I'm not doing it. And then I love when somebody doesn't tell you that they're not going to do something they promise they're going to do. And then you just text them to like verify and you say, hey, like I'm going to have this all set for tomorrow. We're going to be ready to go. And it's like, oh no, I'm not doing it tomorrow. What are you going to tell me? And I feel like I have those conversations all the time is like, were you going to tell me? Was I going to be privy to the information that you weren't showing up for the thing that you were showing up for? And if I didn't text you, would you have even bothered to let me know that you weren't going to be there? So there's some people that are extremely reliable, and you need to hold on to those people and hug them and thank them today for being reliable. And there's people that aren't. There's people that take they kind of just take the responsibility out of the equation. Well, I don't need to tell them. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. They'll be fine. And that should never be the case. You should always care about the people that you're responsible for and that you're responsible to. That should always be a point of emphasis in your life, because there's going to come a time where you're going to need somebody and you may have ostracized the people that you need the most. So, I mean, that's the thing that we have to think about. And that's why it's part of my annoying moment of the week. You think about a TV not working and a person not working, right? You rely on the television to do what it's supposed to do. You rely on the person to do what they're supposed to do. And when it doesn't show up, there's a problem. And that's why it's the annoying moment of the week. So make sure that when you're giving your word and you're telling people you're going to do something, to actually do it and follow through. And if there's some emergency or something comes up that restricts you from being able to do it, make sure you make right on it, because you don't want to burn bridges. And once you burn them, you may never be able to resurrect those bridges again. So with that being said, I thank you so much for being a part of the annoying moment of the week. Proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it is the home of the Wake Up Call Sunday. There's an all-new Sunday coming your way at the wonderful, wonderful Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, the longest-standing Carvel franchise in America, and that will be coming to you very soon. I cannot wait to announce it. I've been very quiet, as quiet as I can be, but I really do want to tell you what that's going to be. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be coming up very, very soon, and I can't wait to unveil it exclusively at Carvel DeWitt. So with that being said, this has been your annoying moment of the week. Make sure you head out to Carvel every single week. They are open all throughout the year. It doesn't matter the weather. They're always there for you. They're there for all your holidays to pick up your stuff prior to the holiday. And we thank them for all the work that they have done over the years to be truly special and to be a part of so many memories. I look back on birthday parties and graduations and all different events that we had, anniversaries and whatnot, and we celebrated with Carvel cakes all the time. That's what my Gammy liked. That's what my G-Mama liked. That's what my parents liked. It's what I like. And we've had a Carvel cake at so many different events with our family. And I know that that's the case, I'm sure, for a lot of families out there. So make sure that you make those memories around a Carvel cake today, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. When we spin back around, we will be more than ready to jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Segment brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, where I have the opportunity this time to talk about being the bigger person.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. So however you're connecting with the show, we thank you so much for being here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, all in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners drive-through location in North Syracuse. So however you connect with Cafe Kubal, as well as ordering from anywhere in the world by going to cafekubal.com. That's cafe, Kubal.com, and ordering your coffee to have it sent right to you. Like Papa Joe and Mary, you can have it sent to you down in the great state of Florida, so make sure you do that today. I think of Mary when I say order it at cafekubal.com, right? Because you get it, you have it there right in the kitchen, gets shipped right to you, and then you're set and ready to go, and you have that fantastic flavor from wherever you are. So make sure you order from Cafe Kubal today. With that being said, it's time to jump into our second segment we do every Friday, which is called Lead. Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Lead brought to you here by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Love Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. They're fantastic, fantastic places. I am a huge fan of the new sandwich that they have out right now. I have become a big fan of their new sandwich that they have here. And if you haven't been there yet to try it, the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich, yum yum and a yum, yummity yum yum. It is so good. And so it's got sweetness to it, a little smokiness to it. The barbecue sauce is awesome. Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich with that chicken grilled or fried. Make sure you go out to Chick-fil-A and get it today and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. So Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by the fantastic people at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, led by the fearless and amazing Jimmer Sikowski, one of my best friends, and I love him so much. I do. And so I appreciate him so very much. So with that being said, here inside of Lead, today's topic is being the bigger person. Being the bigger person. When? All the time. Being the bigger person. I had this conversation with my girlfriend yesterday. Shout out to Carrie. What up, lady? So her and I were talking yesterday, and, and she had said to me, she said, I decided to be the bigger person. And she said, I decided to apologize. And I said, well, you didn't do anything wrong in this situation. She's like, well, I decided to be the bigger person. And to let this person know that I thought was upset with me, hey, if there's like anything that I've done, I'm sorry. If it's what I think, maybe this is, then I'm sorry for that. And I said to her, I was like, well, you didn't have anything to be sorry about. She said, no, but I wanted to be the bigger person. Life is too short. Didn't want to have, bad blood with anybody. So she decided to be nice. Right? She decided to be kind. And then this person ended up saying, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I apologize. This is what I was thinking. I thought you were abusing this privilege. It turns out that you weren't. I'm sorry for how I acted. And, and then there you go. And the thing is, it's so easy to be like, why is this person such a jerk? Why are they so mean? Right? And then we get angry and we get upset and we struggle with it, right? And we want to stay mad. As much as we want that person to apologize, a lot of us enjoy the drama, right? We enjoy staying mad. We enjoy being mad. Something to tell our friends about, something to be frustrated about, something to be upset about. And I don't want to be mad, And so being the bigger person, I had to be the bigger person this week. I had somebody very disrespectfully talk to me in public, shout it right to my face, right next to me. I mean, other people could probably hear it. I heard it loud and clear. And the person did not apologize. The person did not say anything to me. And the irony about this person is when they first came around, they used to say hello to me. We'd go to different stuff. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Then they stopped saying hello. And so I'm like, well, I know they didn't forget my name, but they stopped saying hello. And then all of a sudden, they remembered my name, and instead of saying hello, decided to scream it. Now, when I'm at this event, there's 3 of us. So we all know each other. We've all seen each other a bunch of times. There's nothing, but the thing is now I could have been the bigger person, and I could have said hello, hello, even if these, I don't say it because I feel like they don't respect me. They're not going to say hello to me, so why would I say hello to them? Because if I say hello to them, they're just going to ignore me and I'm going to feel bad. Well, I could have been the bigger person and sucked it up and said, hey, if they don't say hello to me, at least I said hello to them because I want to act like God. I don't want to act like man. And, and I could have done that. So, but I didn't. And I just went and I went to do my job. And I'm doing my job. And then one of these people shouts at me and is very rude. Did not apologize. Continued to carry on with the event and then packed their stuff up and left. Didn't look at me, didn't say anything to me. And the way they yelled at me, it was like, oh my God, this is like the 100th thing that I'm mad about with you. And it's like, but I don't know you, and I don't talk with you, and we don't spend time together. So, why, how could I have possibly hurt this person now or repeatedly? And the thing that they were upset about, it was an honest mistake. I had turned, I didn't realize where they were. I didn't obstruct. I didn't think I was obstructing anything, but apparently I was obstructing something. And in the moment, I got so mad. Right? You're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe somebody would do that, right? And some people say this, people, I wanted to knock that person out, or I wanted to scream back, or I wanted to do something. But you know what I did? I carried on like it didn't happen. I kept going. I stayed focused on my task at hand. I stayed focused on the promise I made to the people that were there. I stayed focused on what my job was and what I was there to do. And I did not let that person see that they had bothered me in any way, shape, or form. I did not retaliate. I did not lash out. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything negatively back toward them. And was it hard? Yeah. Because to me, it wasn't that moment. It was a cluster of moments over time where I was saying to myself, I'm so sick and tired of being disrespected. I'm so sick and tired of being treated this way. I'm so sick and tired of having to be the bigger person because other people don't know how to treat people sometimes. But having the opportunity to be the bigger person is an opportunity that you have to take. It's a great opportunity to have, to be the bigger person. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity that you have. When God gives you the chance to be the bigger person, you try it. You do it. You stand by it. And I will always want to be the bigger person. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it feels downright wrong to have to walk up to somebody who just yelled at you, screamed at you, pushed you, kicked you, said something about you, and to just be like, hey, how you doing? But I've had to do it before. I've had to do it before. And I've had to do it all my life. You know what? I'm just going to be nice to them. I'm going to go up and shake their hand. And I did it a long time ago. There was somebody who didn't respect me and who I am and what I do, or at least it seemed that way. And I could have easily been mean. And one day I was walking out from an event I was at, and I thought to myself, I don't like the way this person's treating me. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I think it's mean. It's heartless. It's not the way that I think anybody would treat somebody if they believe in God, right? If you believe in goodness. And I was walking out, and I put my hand on the door, and then I said, you know what? No, I'm going to be the bigger person. And I turned around, and I walked all the way down. They were on the other end of the hallway. I walked all the way to the end of the hallway. And I said to them, I said their name. I said, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for everything you did today. And I shook their hand. And I continued to do that over and over and over again. As mean as they treated me, as poorly as they treated me, as negatively as they were toward me, I continued to respect them and to not stoop to their level. And eventually, they respected the work I did. And they gave me an opportunity. They gave me multiple opportunities to showcase that. And I said, I can actually tell my kids someday that if you kill them with kindness, it works. When you are nice, when you don't want to be, when you're nice when they are awful towards you, when you are nice when it seems so hard to be, there's goodness that can come from that. The thing that they were keeping from me by being nice, by being kind, by being the bigger person, not knowing what they were going to do, but by saying, you know what? I can be mean, I can be ridiculous, I can ignore them, I can be rude, I can shut them out and hope that things work out, or I can be kind and hope that things work out. And I thought I had a better bet of being nice and getting to where I wanted to be than being mean, and I was nice. And it all worked out. Is it hard to be nice sometimes? Is it difficult to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to continue to talk to this person who has no respect for me. Yeah, it is hard sometimes. But, as my girlfriend Carrie says, and I agree with her wholeheartedly, it's the right thing to do. As tough as it is, it's the right thing to do. It's always the right thing to do to be the bigger person. It's always the right thing to do. And there's so many instances in my life where I didn't like the way I was treated. And they say that there's the spirit and the ego, right? In a human being, there's the spirit and the ego. There's the human side of us that wants to tell people to go shove it somewhere. And then there's the spirit side of us that says, hey, even Jesus being beaten, bruised, spit on, stabbed, crown of thorns, bleeding, carrying a cross, nailed to that cross, out in the heat, wasting away. Even he did not forsake people, disrespect people, treat people poorly. He didn't live by the ego side. He didn't do what maybe he wanted to do, which is to be like, you know what? Screw you guys, or I hate you, or I don't like you, right? We've said things in the moment. I've said things in the moment. You've said things in the moment. We've done things in the moment that we want to take back. You have to have the self-control to say to yourself, I don't know why this just happened. I don't deserve this happening. However, I am not going to be like this person. I'm not going to live like this person has chosen to live. I'm not going to do it. You know, that is the reality. Being the bigger person is an everyday thing. It's an everyday situation. Because you never know who's watching. I mean, I think about it like having a kid, right? If I have a kid and they're watching me and daddy's the bigger person, you know, daddy's out there being the bigger person, and then all of a sudden daddy's not the bigger person. How do we handle that? How do we handle that? You know, what if my kids saw their father be kind, and when somebody's screaming at me to be kind, to be kind, to be kind, and then one day I punch somebody in the face in a parking lot? Right? They might forget all those other times and remember that one time that daddy did that. You know? They're gonna, and the thing is, I never want to have that but, right? That but. That daddy's always a nice person, except for that one time, you know, daddy was all, you know, daddy always was the bigger person, except for that one time. You know, that to me is the thing that I never ever want to be. I don't want to be good sometimes. I want to be good all the time. Now, does that mean I'm going to be perfect? No. Doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. It means that I'm going to try to be the best I can be at all times. It doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes, but at least I can try every day to be the best that I can be. Because in that moment, 18 plus years of being a broadcaster could have went totally out the window if I decided to turn around and tell that person in that moment what I wanted to say. It could have all been out the window if I stood there and said, you know what? This is what I think of you. If I retaliated. If I yelled back. The event would have not been about the people that it was supposed to be about, and it would have became an event about us and whatever that nonsense was. Instead, I let that person's words echo to them. I let them have to live in those words. I let them have to live there in the screaming ridiculousness of what they said. And I said nothing. I didn't move from standing next to them. I didn't walk away. I didn't cry. I stood there and I carried on. Because that, to me, is the best thing that you can do for you. And maybe the best thing for them is to see, hey, you know what? And I've said that before when someone's yelled at me. I said, I'm not going to yell back. I just stand there. And I let their words echo. I let their words bounce off the walls. Because eventually, you have to hear yourself. If someone's fighting with you, and you start to scream, right? Because we all lose our cool at a certain point, and you start to scream back, just stop. And let that person scream. Let that person yell. Let that person call you names. Let that person be ridiculous. Just, just bang, bang, bang. Just go, 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 go. And just stand there. Because eventually, you're going to have enough. You're going to get your stuff and you're going to leave the situation. But when you're silent, instead of screaming back and hurling disrespectful things back to them and yelling at them and calling them names, when someone's yelling at you, swearing at you, calling you names, disrespecting you, when you just stand there and it's like, okay, all right, fine, and then you take your stuff and you say, all right, you know what, I'm not going to stand here and take this abuse. When you do that, when you let them scream and yell and rant and rave, if there's goodness inside of them still, that will bounce off the walls, because you'll walk away and they'll have to sit in the room they just screamed at you at, and they're going to be all alone. And all they're going to hear is, I called them this, I called them that, I said this to them, I did this to them, I did that to them, I did that to them, I said that to them. And if there's goodness inside of them, they'll feel that. They'll know that. They'll have to live with it. And they'll have to figure out, am I going to apologize? Or am I going to sit in this? How are you going to handle the next time somebody cuts you off and flips you off? How are you going to handle somebody cutting in front of you at the movie theater? How are you going to... I'm not saying don't stick up for yourself. I'm saying to you, people are going to treat you however they want to. And how you respond determines who you are. Because that person that cuts you off in traffic, they don't know that you've been a good person for 35 years and that you've treated everybody with respect and you're nice to everybody. All they know is that you flipped them off and you drove up like you were going to hit them in the back after they cut you off. That's all they know. So they know you as a jerk in their life. So who are you going to be all the time, right? I would never want my mom to say, he's such a good kid, he's such a sweet boy, and then have everybody I went to college with go, oh, you don't know your son. Oh, you don't know who he is, because he wasn't like that with us. When you're the bigger person, in the moment you may be thinking, gosh darn it, I want to tell him off, I want to yell, I want to scream, but never have I come off in one of those moments going, I wish I yelled, I wish I screamed, I wish I hit them, I wish I fought with them. Never have I ever walked away from that saying, I wish that I had done that. Because what just happened to me that I mentioned here today, I'm proud of myself that I didn't yell. I'm proud that I didn't scream. I'm proud that I didn't get physical. I'm proud that I wasn't rude back. I'm proud that I didn't say anything back. I'm proud that I said, and maybe what I could have said is, really? But you know what? It's not about me. That moment was not about me. That person made that moment about them. And I'm not a person to escalate a situation. I want to de-escalate a situation. I don't want to escalate it. I want to bring it down. I don't want to bring it up. And, I come to you today and lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver is perfect for being the bigger person. You have to learn how to treat people. Even when they don't treat you right, you still have to treat them right. You can't let them change who you are and make you a bad person. You have to evolve. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to know that what they say and do to you doesn't define who you are. You have to ad-lib. In the moment on the fly, I had to know to keep my cool. I had to know. I didn't expect that to happen. And when it happened, I had to be ready to stay strong and be good. And love God above everything. Above my own ego and above my own self, I had to love God. And I have to love God. And deliver. When I decided I was going to do the right thing, I had to actually do it. I had to actually face it, and I had to do it. And it's funny how things work out, because I was thinking, I'm going to go to this event, I'm going to bump into somebody that's treated me really poorly that I expected to be there. And that person wasn't there. And then a person that has ignored me but never treated me poorly, that was the person that treated me poorly, and I wasn't expecting that. So how do you ad-lib and how do you deliver on your promise? I never want to call my girlfriend and say, honey, you know how I'm always the bigger person? Well, today I wasn't. I don't want to say that to my kids. Hey, you know how daddy never yells at the people in the parking lot that take his spot? Well, now daddy just screamed at somebody and you just saw me like get in someone's face. I don't want to do that, because what I'm telling my kids is sometimes it's okay to get in someone's face and sometimes it's okay to be nice. No, it's okay to be nice all the time. It's right to be nice all the time. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And today could be your last day to do the right thing. You know, I think about all the time, like God, would you, you know, if you would let me go to Congress, could I make a difference? Could I talk to people that fight with each other so much they don't even know why they're fighting anymore? Could I talk to them and make a difference? Could I tell them, don't hit each other, don't trip each other, don't yell at each other, don't defame each other, don't deface each other? I'll put it to you like this. If you say to me, well, Dan, you're telling me not to stick up for myself, because I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is, okay, I'll put it to you like this on Twitter, right? Not a lot, thank God. But every once in a while, somebody will attack me on Twitter. And I've tried to engage them as a gentleman. And I've tried to stick up for myself. And sometimes nicer than others, but I've tried to stick up for myself. You know, this is what I meant. This is me backing it up. This is this. This is that. And you know what? Ultimately, it didn't matter what I said. 2 hours of stating my case with someone that misquoted me, misrepresented me, misheard me. They just wanted to pick apart my words and they wanted to fight about something. And when there was nothing left to fight about, they found something new to fight about. And I tried for 2 hours to have a diplomatic conversation with this person that they didn't want to have. I tried to be the bigger person, and I was the bigger person. But ultimately, it doesn't always work out that person is going to be the bigger person with you. Sometimes you make a difference. Sometimes being the bigger person will cause that person that was rude to you to see you at the next event and say, you know what, I'm sorry I lost my cool that day. I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff. I didn't mean to yell at you. Because the person that yelled at me, why would you want me to be your enemy? Why would you want to form a new enemy? You're not my enemy. I've never thought of you as a bad person. So why would you want to create that blood? So most people would want to right their ship, right? But some people don't right their ship. Trying for 2 hours to have an educated conversation with somebody doesn't always work when that person is not being an adult. They're not listening to what you're saying, and they're fighting with you on what they thought you said rather than what you actually said. Because if they took what you actually said, they wouldn't be fighting with you. So, you can't change everybody. You can't make everybody like you. But what you can do is you can always try. And sometimes it's better to stay quiet, right? In the case of me not screaming back. In some cases, it's, you know, I try to have the conversation. But I can honestly tell you that people that want to fight with you, they keep doing it. If they want to, they're going to keep doing it. And this has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We appreciate you so very much for being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we now have the opportunity to be joined by our top dog of the week. I asked him to be a part of the show. I did not tell him he was going to be the top dog of the week, but he deserves it. The legend of 44 is a very real thing to me. He's the last person to wear the number 44 at Syracuse University for the football program, and he's someone that carried that number 44 to the Miami Dolphins. So I proudly welcome here to the broadcast as our top dog of the week, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, both in East Syracuse, for short and long-term care for your furry loving friends. we honor our top dog of the week this week as one of my favorite players in the history of Syracuse football, one of my favorite players in the history of the NFL, and somebody who I always value talking with. Like I said, I consider him a living legend, and he has always been gracious of his time. So I proudly welcome back to the show Mr. Rob Konrad. Rob, how are we doing today?
Hey, Dan, good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. And Rob, first and foremost, I want to thank you, on behalf of Syracuse, on behalf of my hometown, on behalf of this community. I want to thank you for choosing us back when you had the opportunity to choose where you were going to spend your collegiate career on the field and in the classroom. I want to thank you for choosing Syracuse, choosing the community, choosing the university, and how well you represented us, because I just feel that above all things, the people that have really made a difference in this community deserve to know. And so thank you on behalf of all of us here in Syracuse, upstate New York, and central New York.
I certainly appreciate it, and we had a great time. We were there and had a lot of fun, and met my wife, my future business partners, and it was a great time all the way around. And I'm going through that decision process right now with my own kids, and it's great. And had an opportunity to be back on the board of the Fox School, so get back on campus at least a couple times a year and try to get back as much as I can. So it's certainly we believe orange in our family, and are happy to do what we can to be helpful, and certainly have fond memories and appreciate the kind words.
Absolutely. Here with Rob Konrad this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, honoring Rob as our top dog of the week, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Rob, bring me into the opportunity that you had to be back on campus recently here in Syracuse. I know you said, obviously, there's a decision to be made. So just what the experience was like and what you can share with us. I know you put on social media, it's between Syracuse and Wisconsin, and there was a picture of you stiff-arming Wisconsin telling your thoughts, but I'd love to get your take on it.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. My private equity firm, we just recently bought a social media company, so they told me I had to, get with it a little bit. And I haven't been much of a social media guy, maybe on LinkedIn previously, but in any event, it was kind of fun. We went up there as a family, and my girls weren't only my oldest daughter got to watch me, and she was like 1 when I retired from the NFL, so they never got to see me play the game. And they've obviously grown up in Florida, and we still live down here, and they hear and see some pictures, and they've heard about this 44 thing and this Jim Brown guy, and some of the things that we did when we were there. And but it was a lot of fun to go back up there as a family, and got a picture in front of the Legend of 44 memorial, and actually donated my jersey a few years back. So it was great to see that, and get a great family photo in front of that. And my daughter's in the decision making process, and it's great. I mean, we went up there, and then I've gotten to be friendly with the chancellor. Certainly, John Wildhack has been a good friend for a long time, and been doing everything we can to be helpful, with him in the program. So, got to go over, watch practice for a little bit. Got to tour campus from the great Kyle Federley. If anybody is a Syracuse alum or fan, probably knows Kyle. He's been there longer than anybody. Was our old equipment manager, and they really rolled out the red carpet, which was great. And I just had to explain to my daughter, if you come to school here, it doesn't. This part of it isn't really going to exist for you. So make sure you're making a decision based upon something else. But it's great. It's great going back. It was a lot of fun. It's great. The campus, since I was there, the chancellor's done such a great job at Syracuse and recapitalizing the campus, making more investments into the campus. It's just, it's a different place. It's gorgeous. And like I said, great to get back up there, see the progress, get to hear firsthand kind of what they're doing. really would love to see the football program make a turn. There's a lot going on in that world that's kind of fluid as it relates to NIL and things that are helpful in recruiting, and there's a lot going on that end of it. But it was a lot of fun to get back up on campus for a short weekend.
Yeah, and like you said, your daughters didn't get to see you really. They didn't get to see any of it. Your oldest being one when you're retiring from the NFL. What have you shared with them? And I always love to get that. Because I talk to you, Rob, and I think about all these moments with the Dolphins and with Syracuse, and I think about a living legend. I think about somebody where to get to shake your hand is an honor, and to build a relationship with you, a friendship with you. That's above and beyond something that I never expected in this world. But when you talk to kids where it's like they grow up in it or they know about it, how do your daughters respond? Are they like, yeah, whatever, Dad, that's cool, fine, yeah, Dan Marino, whoever that guy is? How do your daughters respond to it? Because it's always interesting to hear that, because so many people we hear as Syracuse fans, we hear Rob Konrad, and that's immediate cheers. If the dome was filled with 50,000, there'd be 50,000 people standing up, clapping, when you're standing there on the field. How do your daughters respond to it?
They're teenage daughters, right? So it's they're teenagers. They have fun with it. And look, at the end of the day, I'm not. I'll give you an example. I play with Jason Taylor, and so if Jason and I go to dinner and our families are with us, Jason really sticks out in the crowd. He's like 6'6", 6'6". 6'7", and is kind of he really sticks out. I'm 6'2", and kind of blend in a little bit better. So as they were younger and we were hanging out with those types of folks, I've kept a really good relationship with.
Now I kind of blend in a little bit better, so I can hear as they were younger, and we were hanging out with those.
I'm sorry.
Folks.
Oh, you're okay.
I got someone talking to me here. Still there? Anyways, I've stayed friendly with Dan Marino over the years, and really when we've been out with Dan, I think they started figuring out that, hey, why is the entire restaurant coming over to get an autograph from Dan Marino, and they started figuring those things out. And then back on campus, certainly it's interesting. Miami is a very transient place. A lot of turnover. Pro football it's a little bit different here. But when we go to New York, it's funny, when we go to New York City or obviously go back to Syracuse, a lot of folks will come up and say hello and talk about things, and it's they've always been curious about it. And I'm not quite as nimble as I once was as a top recruit coming out of high school, and could run pretty well, and when I also played kind of pre-digital age, so there's not a ton of footage that's just available. So every once in a while when stuff comes out and they see it and they're like, you could run, Dad. That's kind of surprising, but it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of the life lessons that I've taken from the game, I think just instinctually I would tell them about, and pressure situations and how to prepare, and what trying to achieve greatness is, and I think they pick up on things like that. But I'm still their dad, and they give me a hard time about everything. So that's just part of the deal.
that coming here from Rob Konrad here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. To go back to your Syracuse time, for those of you that don't know, and like you said, pre-digital age and not as easy to get footage and whatnot, I do want to hear Rob playing from 95 to 98 at Syracuse inside of the Big East, and your numbers, which obviously aided you to getting to the NFL. When people think of a fullback, which not every team in the NFL is going to utilize, right? Not everybody does. When Tony Fiammetta, a fellow Syracuse player, when he went to the NFL, it was like 5 or 6 teams using a fullback out of 32 franchises, or might have been 31 franchises at that time. When he went, there wasn't that respect for it. And a lot of teams still don't see that they need to lean on the fullback. The fullback is usually that lead blocker, that lead helper to the running back, right? Running back follows the fullback. You follow the fullback, you can get to pay dirt. In your case, as a fullback, first season, 63 attempts, 433 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6.9 yards per carry. Then 93 attempts, 361 yards, 3.9 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. 46 attempts, 305 yards, 6.6 yards a carry. And your senior season, 93 attempts, again, 417 yards, 4.5 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns. You averaged 5.1 yards per carry in your career at Syracuse, more than halfway to a first down. You had over 1,500 yards as a Syracuse player. We talk about the 2,500-yard backs. As a fullback, you had 1,516. You added another 336 yards when it looks, you had another 473 yards receiving. You had almost 2,000 yards rushing and receiving as a fullback. You're an enigma. You're one of those fullbacks that people would love to see today come into the NFL or be on their collegiate football team. Bring me into your time at Syracuse and the importance of the fullback, because you're one of the last fullbacks that we look at those numbers and we say those are running back numbers. This is a guy who had almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage. There's a lot to be said about that and where you are in Syracuse history and how those numbers stay true to today in the 2020s, where you need a guy like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, probably right at my prime, I ended up hurting my knee and missed half my junior season, which was disappointing. But, it's funny. I've become friendly with Daryl Johnson, who's about 10 years my senior, and I got to know him well in the NFL when I was in the NFL and he was commentating. And it was interesting because he played under the same exact system, the pro freeze option attack that we had under, Coach Mack and Pasqualoni had it. So we had a very similar position. Frankly, one of the reasons I chose Syracuse is I wanted to play fullback, but I was an athletic fullback. Now I was, that was my thing was, I think I kind of had roughly, 4.5 speed, could catch a football, could run the ball, probably better than just just outright lead blocker. And so with the system that we'd use a fullback in that capacity was where I wanted to go, and it was really between a few schools, and it was really came down to Notre Dame and Syracuse. That they had a guy, Mark Edwards, that was athletic fullback that he got to touch the ball quite a bit as well. And so in any event, we went there. I had some fun talking with Daryl about it, and we have very similar stats, and obviously a great football player in his own right. But having the number 44 on your back, it was always a bit frustrating from some of the media and people that I was, one of the highest recruits in the country. I was, the number 1 fullback in the country coming out of my class. Yet people, would want to compare me to, Jim Brown or Ernie Davis, and the reality of the situation was I was a fullback. I was never going to touch the ball that many times. I was never going to have that many carries or that many yards. And so from my standpoint, I just dedicated myself to my craft and being, the best at my position in college football. I think, I achieved that. I got drafted at that level. And what really kind of started to happen was, if I go back and think about my first couple of years in the NFL with the Dolphins, and then my last few years in the NFL with the Dolphins, it was right when they had rule changes, and it was in regards to pass interference. Whereas you weren't allowed to jam guys, and you weren't allowed to touch them down the field. So they were trying to make the game less of a running game, but a higher scoring, more exciting game and product. And so what the byproduct of that was it made more sense to take a fullback out, generally speaking, a less athletic guy that's not going to be running 15-yard routes down the field. And I actually had this happen to me with Wes Welker with the Dolphins. Wes Welker was this, little guy that came to our team from. He got traded from San Diego at the time. we were, almost laughed about it. Said, what is this kid going to do for our team? Well, the rules changed, and all of a sudden, you get Wes in the slot, no one can touch him, and he's got such quick feet. He's running these option routes, and he was dynamic. But on the flip side, that took me off the field a lot. So I would play upfield snaps. I'd even play third down on, my first 3 years in the NFL. I was on the field 80% of the time. My last 3-4 years, I was on the field 40, 50% of the time. And it's a direct correlation with the rule changes. So, going back to, Darryl, it was, they literally, he was drafted by Jimmy Johnson in Dallas, played for North Turner, famous offensive coordinator during the Dallas run, and I was drafted by Jimmy Johnson, and North Turner was my coordinator. So we were used in the same capacity, in the same fashion, and so he was always kind of a mentor and a resource for me, he was the one that first kind of brought what was happening to my attention, and that it was likely going to be, there's going to be a dwindling of the fullback position. So that certainly happened, and so from a timing standpoint, it wasn't great for me in the back half of my time in the NFL, just because fullbacks started to become devalued. And if I was going to be a guy, and Darryl was a guy where you could run play action passes and you put pressure on linebackers and safeties where they had to come to respect the run, but you were athletic enough to run the route and outrun them and could get open. And that was really one of my strengths. Once they started using guys like Wes Welker for those purposes, fullbacks became just a glorified guard, right? I mean, they just were going to line up and just they started actually using defensive linemen and guards as and filling linebackers for fullbacks that had no threat to do anything with the football in their hands. They could run into you at 300 pounds and probably make more of an impact on the lead block. But the true fullbacks in my mind are the dual threats, or the guys that can and there's a couple guys that can play like that now in the NFL. The guys that can block, and I took a lot of pride in blocking. Blocking was not my just physically. I was not Sam Gash, right? But I took a lot of pride in especially the years I played with Ricky Williams, and he had those terrific seasons. I mean, in being a blocker, and a lot of that's being in the right place, head position, having the flat back, and making sure you're making an easy decision for your tailback. We made some great years in the NFL. I had a lot of fun doing that. I would have rather been, catching a couple more passes and running the ball a little bit, but admittedly, Ricky was pretty special with the ball in his hand at his peak. So you'd like to let him run the ball, but things have changed certainly. And the last thing I'll say about it is youth football's changed too. I think when I was playing, the whole concussion narrative wasn't out. If you got a concussion, you were looked upon as being weak, and they threw you back in the game, and no one thought twice about it. I think when the concussion, the lawsuit came out, and there was more, knowledge and research surrounding it. Football for linemen is a contact sport. Football for linebackers and fullbacks is a collision sport. My job in the NFL typically on a week-to-week basis was go take the biggest, I say biggest, the toughest, guy on the other side, like the Junior Seales of the world, the Ray Lewis's of the world, and go run into him, with a 10-yard running head start, and just have collisions and lead block for the run game, right? Those are, talk about getting prepared and getting ready to get in the fist fight every week and compete at the highest level. I mean, those are the things we were doing back then. I kind of, it's there a little bit. I'm friendly with Matt Patricia, another Syracuse GA who was with the Patriots and does a lot for them right now. And they've had some guys over the years where, Belichick's kind of an old school 3-4 defense guy. He knows the value of lining up with a fullback that can just run at you and hit you in the mouth. And there's some of those guys, but for a lot of it in youth football, who grows up today and says, I want to be a fullback? I mean, frankly, kids ask me, wow, you played for the Dolphins. What position did you play? And I tell them I was a fullback. And they say, what's a fullback? So it's, I don't know that it's necessarily an aspirational position right now. Those kids play tight end, they play linebacker, or they go play lacrosse. When I was growing up, and I was actually talking with them the other day, my idol was touchdown Tommy Vardell from Stanford, if you remember him. And, it's funny, with a similar background. Has done very well in private equity afterwards, but I just loved how he played. Those guys are just, there's the kid out of San Francisco, I can never pronounce his last name correctly, Kyle something or another.
Yeah.
He's an athletic guy. He puts pressure on defenses. When you control linebackers and safeties through play action, you control defenses. He has the ability to do that. Although I don't know that he would have played during my time, because he's a little bit more of he's a smaller guy. But in concept, he does that and adds a lot of value to those systems. And that's what I think the few guys that kind of had the skill set, they could block and were athletic and could line up a wide receiver and run a route, or run routes out of the backfield, or play action, run and keep linebackers honest. I used to have an ongoing feud with like Brian Cox, which was pretty funny, but Brian couldn't run. And so I used to beg for in the game plan. We'd run at him. I had a little play action, slip out of the back. None of the New England linebackers could run. Vrabel, who I'm good buddies with, Brewski, probably out of all of them could run a little bit, but not that well. And they were just big guys who could slug it out. But if you got in the play action game with them, and it really put a lot of pressure on their defense.
Yeah, and I appreciate all of that coming from Rob Konrad here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios to paint a picture. And you mentioned, obviously some of the guys of today. You're being a former Dolphin. The guy, there's some irony in how small the world is, especially the sports world. We talked about you putting up the picture to show your daughter between Syracuse and Wisconsin, you stiff-arming Wisconsin. Here's the irony. Alec Ingold, the current fullback for the Miami Dolphins, went to school at Wisconsin. So,
there you go. Well,
go ahead.
I didn't know the Dolphins had a fullback, so that's, you just taught me something.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about what you think about your Dolphins right now. I mean, the Dolphins are obviously trying to find their footing, trying to find their place. They do have a Syracuse player in their secondary in Trill Williams, and so I mean, obviously that connection to Syracuse continues in South Beach, but Tua is always a part of the conversation of was that the right move? Tyreek Hill came in, and so I guess my question to you is, you can feel free to talk about the Dolphins, bring it wherever you want it to go, but to be a Miami Dolphin alum, what is your take on Tua? You gave us your take on not knowing that Miami had a fullback, but what's your take on Tua? It was the Tyreek Hill move, the best move of the offseason, And what are your thoughts on having a Syracuse player on the roster?
Yeah, listen, I think it's great. I mean, the stretch that I know of well, and that I take a lot of pride in is I was actually talking with Tim Green's son yesterday, and I think about the '85, kind of late '80s, and through the late '90s. There's like a decade, right, that Syracuse was probably ending right around our class. Maybe they stuck around for a year or two when Dwight and those guys were there, but they were prominent in the East. I mean, we were top 25 program and took a lot of pride in it. And so it's great. We used to put, out of our own, we had, in the first, 40 picks of the draft our year, we had two members of our backfield and one of our wide receivers taken, you think about, and I remember the first time I ever thought I was going to play professional football is when Marvin Harrison got drafted as high as he did, and kind of kicked in and said, this is if I stay healthy, this is probably going to happen. That hasn't necessarily happened today. I actually spoke with Eric Dungy the other day, who's a sweetheart of a kid, and I have a bunch of respect for. And he reminded me a lot of McNabb. He used to put the team on his shoulder and go win football games, and there's something to be said and special about that. And he played banged up and played hurt. Probably a lot of people, some people knew, some people didn't. I'd love to see him get another shot, either in the XFL, just getting back on the field. I think he's a guy that, he's got all the intangibles. He's healed up, and if he can, just tighten up some things in the passing game, I'd love to see him in the NFL. But when I was coming out, I used to have scouts tell me they loved taking Syracuse football players because they were always ready for the NFL. And what that meant was our program at the time, we worked so damn hard, and with McPherson and with Paul and the coaching, I mean, it was almost kind of how Alabama was seen now, where it's you had kids that were taught how to be fundamental football players first, and so there were a ton of kids that were drafted. So to see some guys going now, it's a little different world with the transfer portal and some kids going out younger and things of that nature. But I think it's great. It's I think it's great for the school. It's great for the program's publicity, and you'd love to see more of it. And for the Dolphins, it's been since COVID. I've always been really close with the team. Part of their foundation and run a fishing tournament for them. I've been less close probably in the last couple of years, just because we haven't done any of those things. The Dolphins have done everything right with their new ownership. I played under Wayne Huizinga. He's a great man and a mentor. And he'd sold the team to Ross, who's a real estate developer, lives up here in Palm Beach. And I mean, they from a business standpoint, it's been unbelievable what they've done. The stadium, if you've been down to Dolphin Stadium, it's the same shell, but completely different, facade, different game day experience. Much better than when we played, and they brought Formula One racing there, the tennis tournament. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done there. They've done everything but win football games at the end of the day, and which is it's a problem, because at the end of the day, that's going to be your biggest draw, and so I think a lot of the pain and suffering, maybe from some of the Syracuse fans, and myself included, that's been felt here in Miami as well for some time. But I never thought Ryan Tannehill was a problem here in Miami, and I think that kind of proved out a bit in his time in Tennessee. I don't think Tua has been the problem either. He's a young guy. That's a tough position to step into and play right away. I think he's a good kid, instinctive passer. they didn't have a ton around them for a while. They had this new kid, I think Waddle, come in from Alabama. By the way, broke my rookie reception record in the game, which I was unpleased about. But but he's a guy that can get being open in college at Alabama is you're 10 yards wide open, right? Being open in the NFL, you're a half a foot open. So you have to be, there has to be timing, spacing, and you have to be able to hit a guy, on the run. And so it is a different animal, but that's a guy that can get open. The gentleman you just mentioned that they traded for, obviously, his dynamic speed and can Kid Hill can change a game. I don't generally like blockbuster trades like that, probably because I did play with Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wanstead and that whole entire coaching staff that made that trade and that led to them winning all those Super Bowls. And look, football is a team game at the end of the day. If they get back, he better have a huge impact, or it's not going to be it's not going to be beneficial for the team. And really, does that work out, right? If you got a guy that hopefully can stay healthy, if you can get those two guys across from each other, and you'd love to see them. I mean, hopefully he'll be the deep threat they need. He's not your classic number one deep threat, guy. Tall, lengthy, jumper, strider, stretch the field guy. But obviously, he can run like a deer and stretch the field. You got Waddle working underneath. If he's going to have a shot, I think Tua's going into year 3 now. This should be his year, right? If he's gonna have a good season and put things together, this should be the year that happens. And we'll see. It'll be exciting to watch and get over there and see how they're doing. But I'm not. A lot of people have kind of soured on him, and I'm not necessarily one of those guys. I think he's got a ton of talent. I think he's that position. There's so much of it is leadership. There's so much more that goes into being a quarterback than just being able to throw a football. I think he has a lot of those things, which is good. And those in the NFL pick up over time and over the years and with success. And I'm expecting them to have a decent year. They certainly went on the run at the end of last year, and in traditional Dolphin style, there's an issue at the end of the year that was really unfortunate. And I don't know a whole heck of a lot about their new head coach. There's some of my buddies played for him in some different places and said he was a real smart head coach. He's a guy who is sharp, very analytic, but not necessarily a leader of men. So I'm interested to see how that might work out. But hope springs eternal, right? Both for the Orange and the Dolphins.
Yeah, and speaking of another Orange Dolphins connection besides yourself, you were talking about your teammates before, Ricky Williams, Dan Marino, and whatnot. You played with Oronde Gadsden, and Oronde Gadsden II, his son, is on the Syracuse football team now and is a sophomore here. Played in 8 games in 2021 with 2 receptions for 24 yards. Made his college debut on September 4th of 2021 against Ohio. So yet again, another connection. You from Syracuse to the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins kind of back to Syracuse with Oronde Gadsden II. What do you think about the fact that one of your former teammates now has his son on the Syracuse team?
Yeah, it's fun. We call him Big O, and he's Little O, but or OG too. Oronde was a big guy. I'm pretty sure I used to beat him in the 40, but he was just the guy had a range. He was one of those guys where you could throw it, as a quarterback, and anywhere in a 6-foot radius of him, they catch it. And the guy's got hands, like a mitt. So Oronde's a good guy, and so we were Olindo Mare, who played at Syracuse, and with myself and Arande. We were both had a lot of fun with them going up there. I actually had a chance to spend some time with them. I went to the Florida State game this year, and as he's walking on the field, I grabbed him and told him I played with his dad, and so it was good to see him. And I knew him when he was a really little kid. We were about the age of my daughter when we were playing together. But so it's it made me feel really old. I can tell you that much. But it was really nice to see, and hopefully he turns into the type of player his dad did.
And to look at that roster that you had with Arande, as well as, you mentioned Ricky Williams, Dan Marino, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so many players on this roster. Terrell Buckley, one of my favorite players of all time, O.J. McDuffie, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, and Daryl Gardner. The list goes. Even if you weren't a Miami fan, you knew a lot of these Miami names. So when you look back on your time in Miami, two-parter, number one, how did you have longevity as a player, because it's so fleeting? And then secondly, when you look back at your Miami roster, I consider your roster to be the last time that Miami was consistently good. I honestly feel like they have not been able to keep it together since Dan Marino and you and OJ. During that time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Ricky Williams, you were the last hurrah for the Dolphins, really. So how did you find that longevity in the NFL? And then secondly, what is it like to be a part of the team that everybody's still kind of chasing in Miami?
Yeah, it's it's going to sound silly, but a couple people my buddies came up with the Konrad curse, and we left Syracuse and left Miami, and they've yet to kind of come back into prominence in any way, and I'm sure it had nothing to do with me, but I thought it was kind of cute. Anyways, but yeah, it was. Look, we had a run in Miami. It was interesting. I came in at the very tail end of Jimmy Johnson. He retired when the media came back. He tried to retire the year before. Wayne Huizenga coming back. Dan Marino was 38 years old, which at the time was old for a quarterback. I don't know if that's still the case anymore. But there was a team around it, and Jimmy was a defensive guy. And so we had 2/3 of our budget. NFL is so different, but 2/3 of our cap was on defense, right? So you had Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, you had Pat Surtain, and fast talking Sam Madison on the outside, and we just had you talk about Daryl Gardner, who is the probably largest human being I've ever seen. He somewhat looks like we used to. I think our nickname was a Klingon from Star Trek. He was just a monster. Tim Bowen's defensive line, who was probably a better player, they were just loaded across the board on defense. And so for offense, it was much different. We had 1/3 of the salary cap. So we came in, we had our first year, went to the second round of the playoffs. I think I played in 5 seasons, 7 weeks of camp, 5 preseason games. Yeah. And then 17 or 18 games, and I just remember when I was done with the season, I was like dead. We played in we played in the last game in the Seattle Superdome before it got imploded, and beat Rick Meyer in the first round of the playoffs, and then went to Jacksonville when they were really good with Fred Taylor and Brunell, and they had a bye week, and we were coming off the late game on flying back from Seattle, and we just got destroyed in the second round of the playoffs. It was, and that was it for Dan. That was Dan's last year. And then there was somewhat of a rebuild that went on, but we had, I think, out of my my years there, we only had one losing season. I think we went to the playoffs. I know we went to the second round of the playoffs twice. I think we went to the playoffs every year but 1 year. And the couple times we didn't go, I mean, we had like 9-win seasons. It was because of the Patriots were starting to ascend, and they were in our division. So we had very good competitive teams, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, that league is college football and pro football are very different. There's the camaraderie, the relationships you build. I mean, they're still there for me with guys that. And a lot of guys stay in Miami. There's a lot of city NFL towns that guys don't stick around. A lot of people stick around down here. So stay very close with, Zach and Jason and Dan and all those guys still are in the area and coming. I see OJ quite a bit as well. And, he was a great player. I mean, I think about that offense, and I was a kid, just learning to get around. But OJ played with as much attitude and he was not a big guy, but just his confidence in himself and his attitude and the way he played the game just rubbed off in the team. Danny's presence, I would have loved to play with Dan when he was younger, because when he was 38 and he couldn't walk, the ball he threw, he was such a natural passer. I was very lucky to play with two very good to play with McNabb and all my years at Syracuse, and I had to play with Dan Marino, who's naturally, I would argue is the best natural, passer, right alongside probably Brett Favre in recent history, just a thrower of the football. And it was fun to play in those teams. We had a lot of swagger. You were in Miami, which is a very different place from Syracuse. It was a little bit of a culture shock for me when we get down here, but it was a lot of fun. And but yeah, once that team broke up, I mean, look, I retired early. I was under contract. I was going to follow North Turner out to the Raiders, and I signed a contract to go out there. And that's when Randy Moss was out there, and Warren Sapp was out there, and Ted Washington was out there. The year they were supposed to be great, and I went out for a week, and quickly realized Kerry Collins was a quarterback. Quickly realized that there was such a dichotomy of the locker room and the team there than we had in Miami. And I decided I was done. I just didn't. I had already started my business. I spent more than I think I was triple the lifespan of the typical fullback in the NFL, and I ended up walking away under the contract. So could have got a few more years in, but it was not an easy life. I'll tell you that much. It was. I think back to those years in the NFL. Those were dog years. I mean, those were tough. But again, I go back to the lessons learned on how to prepare and compete at the highest level, and what that takes and what that means, and the mindset to get you there. You're able to take those things with you and apply them other places in life, and it's been certainly helpful for me. But it was great. It's hard to replace, and if you haven't done it, but preparing and then going out and performing in front of 100,000 people in the stands, and tens and 20s and millions of people on TV, and then and have to go ahead and execute. And if you don't execute, you make a mistake, being able to put it out of your mind and having the mental toughness to move on. And all those things were terribly interesting, and have never really able to been replaced in anything I've done. I've been blessed, and I've been able to do some other really interesting things, but it's be able to perform under pressure, think critically under pressure. All those things they were hard as heck at the time, and just the preparation, the pressure, getting ready to go. When you're going to go play Ray Lewis the week before your paying a lot of attention to what you're doing, and you're focusing, and you know, it's a game inside the game. And it was a long but fun time in my life. But man, it was not an easy life. I'll tell you that much.
No, and the thing is, I mean, obviously people don't see that hard work behind the scenes, the blood, sweat, and tears. They see the game on Sunday and they think that you just relax and party and do whatever you want the other 6 days of the week, which isn't the case. So, you know, Rob, you know, we've been able to talk about so many great things today, and I sit here in the studio and I'm just a sponge taking in this information, and you know, I love talking with you every chance I get. I have a lot of things that I'd love to talk about as we continue on here in future conversations, but before I let you go today, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, 2 final points. The number 44, and then I want to talk with you about something personally that, you know, obviously that happened in your life with the swim for your life and a decision you made with that. But the number 44, you and I talked about it off the air, and I believe we talked about it in the past as well, but you're still holding true to what you think about retiring or unretiring that, and I'd love to share that, you know, for the people that may not know how you feel about Syracuse's number 44 being used in the future.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's a tough concept, and you know, I was a torchbearer, and had no idea at the time I was going to be the last one to wear it, and I didn't know they were going to retire it, and I think they retired it the year I retired from the NFL, actually, and you know, it was really an honor of Jim and Ernie and Floyd, and you know, there's some of us, and you know, I'd like to think I you know, at the very least, and you know, as I said before, I would never put up those numbers, but you know, wore that number with pride and did it the right way, and I take a lot of pride in it. And you know, Terry Richardson, Michael Owens, you know, I got to know Jim, and God bless Floyd. Really got to know him, and there's, you know, there's certainly a brotherhood there, and a respect for it. And but from my standpoint, you know, that number was retired in large part, you know, for Jim Brown, arguably the best football player of all time, and it's. You know, I've talked to Jim quite a bit. I made it a point to be able to talk to, you know, Floyd before he passed, to get his wishes. And you know, unless something was to change, I think it's, you know, I certainly will always defer to Jim. At some point, I'll probably be the torchbearer, which is not something I necessarily enjoy, because I know a lot of fans want to bring it back, but I also know at the same point in time, I don't necessarily know that's the desire of the group in general. And so it's not up to us at the end of the day. It's the university's number, but you know, I think that, you know, Jim is, and he can speak to himself, but looks at it as somewhat punitive. Like, why would you retire my number and then unretire it, unless I did something, you know, bad, or if there was some real commercial aspect to it, and it was going to be really meaningful, I think he might think differently about it, and I might think differently about it, out of respect for him. But the whole conversation with Sean Tucker, Sean Tucker is terrific. He's a great little ball player, you know, and you know, has a chance probably to play in the NFL. But you know, part of the problem too is Syracuse, and just to be frank, they've been bad. I mean, they've not had a lot of respectable teams out there, and I think that's part of it. I don't think you know, necessarily, you know, running backs aren't what they used to be to teams in college. They can be good players, but I think it probably would be more amenable to a lot of folks if, you know, the team got back to a place, you know, closer to probably where the the 80s and 90s team to where it makes sense to, look, the guy that, I was a parade All-American, top 10 pick at 2 positions coming out of high school. Terry Richardson before me was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Florida. I mean, think about that. It's you got some big time guys that were coming here as a result of it, and that was part of it for me. I'll be honest. I was kind of leaning towards Notre Dame until the number was offered to me, and it's and not that I'm claiming to have been. I'd like to think I had a good part in our success there, but was changed the program because I went there or something along those lines. But at the same point, the history of it, and there's a whole nother history that I don't really quite fit the narrative of. But you think about the big three during that time, the integration, social justice, and what those guys meant to the game. Why Floyd came, to Syracuse. There's something there that is special and sacred, and I think those guys would like to see it where it is. And it's I know a lot of people want to see it back in the field as well. But for me, I've always said this. I've said this to you. I'm always going to defer to Jim, and just out of respect. And it's in my mind, it's his number. You're talking about one of the greatest of all time, and if he feels that it should be unretired, I would support it 100%.
Yeah, and I know that you've said that in the past, and obviously I respect that decision, and I'm sure that Jim does as well. You made another decision as a final point here. I can't believe it's been almost 7 years ago since this 16-hour swim from 9 miles offshore that you made, and I remember my dad calling me and talking with me about it. You decided to not make this into a book. You turned down making it into a movie. What made you do that? That you'd rather just have a memo to your children and your grandchildren instead of, telling this story? And I mean, to some people, it's turning down millions of dollars. It's turning down popularity and notoriety. Why, after everything you've been through, did you say to yourself, you know what? This is a journey that I had myself. I've shared it with the world once, and now I'll share it with my family exclusively. And, I'll talk about it on interviews and whatnot, but I'm not going to make this a big blockbuster Hollywood thing.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't want to share it with the world. I would have been perfectly happy sitting in a hospital room and never hearing about it again. Look, for me, it was a personal, amazing journey that changed my life. And the fact that, when you see the abyss and you wake up every morning, you just have a different outlook on life. And that's been, a blessing in and of itself for me, which has been great. The biggest reason I didn't do more media around it or talk about it were twofold. Number one, I run a few billion-dollar, a multifaceted investment business. I didn't want to, I want to focus on that. I don't want to talk about, swimming every time I have a conversation, right? I want to talk about things I'm focused and working hard on right now. The second part is, my wife had a real hard time with it. And so just didn't want to have it where it was interface on a regular basis. So, and things have died down, which is good. But it's in hindsight, it's kind of fun. It's fun to talk about at times now, and I think this is like it's been like 7 years or so. Yeah. And so to think about being on 7 years of borrowed time, we it's fun to talk about. And you talk about learning lessons. You learn a lot about yourself 16 hours and 28 miles overnight in the ocean, right? And probably a lot of things that I took away from athletics allowed me to even have the chance to get that done. And you know what? I've turned those things down now. There might be a point later in life where I do something like that. Right now I'm focused on, my family, my kids, growing our business. But I think, there's during COVID, there was a lot of folks that reached out and, people wanted stories of hope and what have you. And was happy to talk with, a few people but just not ready quite yet. But at some point in time, I mean, there's a story there, but it's, mostly too, it's a personal story for me. It's a journey. It was a fight. I'm not sure how you necessarily reflect that on a movie screen, if you will. I've always kind of struggled with that a little bit, but I don't know if enough people want to hear about it and the opportunity comes up. Maybe someday down the road we'll consider it. But anyways, it's what a long, strange trip it's been.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go from being the last to wear number 44 to playing with some of the greats and being a great yourself with the Miami Dolphins and having consistent, positivity there in the last team to really do it for the Dolphins. And then you're in a quest for your life and you make it all the way through. And I mean, that is an incredible story to tell. And I think there's a lot to be had there. And above all things, Rob, we always open the door to more conversations, and I love talking with you on here. Florida's a second home for me, and for the show, for Wake Up Call. So, hopefully you and I will get to spend some more FaceTime again soon. I'd love to either come down and see you or obviously cross paths with you somewhere. But I do want to tell you personally, above all things, that I am more than honored to go back in time and tell the kid version. I'll always be a big kid, but that little me to say, hey, one day you're going to talk to Rob Konrad. And I know his jaw would have dropped to the floor and he would have thought that was crazy and his eyes would have lit up. So, I very much appreciate the time that we get, and I always value our conversation.
Yeah, likewise. And thanks for having me on, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Stay safe. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.
Take care. That coming from Rob Konrad once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I know many of you have been very patient for Enrico Mastroianni joining the broadcast. He is going to join it next. He has a very amazing thing to speak about, and that is giving to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. He is running a personal campaign to help out leukemia and lymphoma, to eradicate that, hopefully someday, from our world. And so he is doing what he can to help where he can, and I am more than honored to have one of my closest friends and one of the greatest people that I know be a part of this broadcast right after this fast break. And all new Pacer Pride comes to you with Enrico Mastroianni speaking on something that is incredibly important in today's world, yesterday's world, and the world of tomorrow. As we fight for cures, Enrico Mastroianni continues to raise money and awareness to help those that are affected by leukemia and lymphoma. That conversation on Pacer Pride rounds out today's broadcast right after this fast break from inside the Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on YouTube.com and Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. Plenty of places to watch and listen every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, we're running longer today because I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to speak with our guy, Enrico Mastroianni. And he has a bunch of supporters, and I apologize for making y'all wait here. I know you were sitting in the queue here. I thought some Rob Konrad, some of you, realizing when Miami was a good team. I mean, Enrico's a Cleveland Browns fan, so he has to remember a lot farther back. But, I'm always happy to have Rob Konrad on the show. I appreciate y'all for being patient because I wanted to make sure we got to everything this morning and had our conversation with Rob. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for coming back to the live feeds on MixLR, Facebook, and on YouTube for my Enrico Mastroianni crew. And I am very, very excited to have the opportunity to welcome Enrico back to the show in an all-new Pacer Pride. So before we do that, of course, we have to give you that music that I love all too much about this when it comes to Pacer Pride with Marywood University in our multimedia marketing partnership. And now we proudly welcome Enrico Mastroianni, Marywood Pacers men's basketball head coach, back on to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this edition of Pacer Pride, which airs for you typically around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time every single Friday. We appreciate you being here as Enrico joins us today to not only represent Marywood, but to speak on raising money for a fantastic Leukemia and Lymphoma Society awareness campaign here to help people toward a brighter and better future, and hopefully one day toward a cure. Enrico, how are we doing today?
Doing well, Dan. Thank you, and thanks for bringing me in. And it's a great topic to discuss. I'm happy to do it with you today.
Yeah, and we talk about Pacer pride, right? Having pride in the community. Well, there's also, having pride in your family on top of that, and pride in being a part of something bigger than us. Prideful in doing something great, stepping outside of ourselves. If there's people out there that are listening and watching that feel this way, I hope you feel this way. When I give back, I don't do it to have somebody tell me, wow, that was great. I give back because it really feels good to help other people. I love to help other people. I love to do things for other people, not for anything for me, but it makes me feel good to know that maybe somebody else's life will be better. And so, sometimes that means taking your jacket, throwing it over the puddle and letting somebody walk over it. Sometimes it means laying on the puddle yourself. And when it comes to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, you have taken a great task of raising money here this year in 2022 to try and help the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society to obviously have a road toward a cure and a road toward helping with different treatments and different things that they do. So I'm going to just open the door and let you walk through it on why you chose to do this and just what this campaign means to you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And, it's definitely not something that I thought I would ever really get involved in on this magnitude. I was actually asked to do it by a friend, an old friend who I went to high school with, who had a son that had leukemia and at a very young age and is now in remission, which was a great story, a great relief for all of us in the community. And, she reached out to me throughout the year, just kind of suggesting, hey, I think you'd be a really good candidate for this, really trying to raise awareness, trying to raise funds for the Northeast PA Society, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and I think you'd be a great representative for it. You're in the community, people are aware of what you're doing, and I'd love to, nominate you if you're okay with that. And it really did take me some time to decide to do it because we were in the middle of our season, and obviously I wanted to focus on the guys, and then we had our giving day coming up, and I didn't want to interfere with that. So, but I felt compelled to say yes. Like there was no way I could say no to this because so many people have been affected, Dan, in so many ways, and myself included. I am sure most listeners know I lost my dad to cancer 20 years ago, and it was a very difficult time, and it's still difficult for our family. And I still look back and say, I wish my kids would know my dad, and I wish he was at my wedding and all these different events in my life that, he didn't get to be a part of. And I felt like, if I don't step in and do something about it now, then somebody else 20 years from now is going to be saying, I wish. And so, I just kind of felt like this is the time I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to do this. And hopefully we can get the community to support it and raise these funds that are needed to help fight these deadly diseases.
Yeah, and I think it's so imperative for us to really, understand that, for those that don't know about leukemia and lymphoma, just what you can say, Enrico, about, obviously there's, like you said, this mission to aid and help them in this society is personal, but to go one step further and maybe to give people some information and some background about why, because, we get inundated with information all the time and, getting asked to, give to different things. So why specifically should we give to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and to your direct mission to help them?
Well, in particular, this year's campaign is supporting a local boy and girl in our community who have been diagnosed, and one is in remission now, thank goodness. But it is something that is affecting so many people, so many lives, and these are young children. I mean, children who have a beautiful life ahead of them that somehow, some way, if we can support, will get to live longer and experience more things in their life. And it's just, there's nothing more devastating than seeing young ones suffer with these types of illnesses. And we also at Marywood had, an assistant baseball coach, I won't name him because I don't want him to feel, a certain way about it, but he's on my team. He's trying to help me support this cause. And he has just recently been in remission now. So, there's just so many people that are around us, and Leukemia Lymphoma Society has done so much over the years. One note in particular, invested more than $1.3 billion in cutting-edge research since 1949. It's such a worthy cause, and it's something that I think any support in any way is helpful, right? I mean, we love the big donors, of course, and the sponsors and the partners and all that, but I don't think people really understand that the strength is in the numbers. Yeah. And, when I post something out there and I'll say, hey, this weekend, for instance, right now we're in the midst of 100 donors in 100 hours, right? It started Wednesday night at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we're going to go until midnight on Sunday or, Monday morning. And, it's great. We have donations coming in, but they're like in the $25, the $50, $100 range. That's all wonderful. But even if you donated $1, I hate to say that because I know most people can afford more than $1, right? Especially for a cause like this. But $5, $10, anything at all, just to get the volume in, because if we hit that goal and we get 100 donors in that time, the campaign will generate an extra $1,000 towards, funds. And that's just huge. It's like there are so many challenges that are out there that people are willing to put money towards it if you're willing to do the work. So I'm going to keep trying to do my part and keep doing the work, and hopefully with the help of your listeners and the community and, my Marywood community that I've been grateful for their support. Sister Mary Persico has supported me in this cause, and the community has gotten behind it. Hopefully we can accomplish these goals.
Yeah, and it's been a beautiful thing. Many thanks to the countless people that have donated already to the campaign, and we look forward to you making a donation today. You can follow the links on all of our social media. I'm also putting that link currently onto our Facebook live feed here, so facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. I'll be sharing a separate post of it. It's on all the posts that we put on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT to say that Enrico was going to be on the show today. It's on our Twitter multiple times at CallDT and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. We just shared it again to our Facebook live feed, so make sure you check that out today. But Enrico's Man and Woman of the Year fundraiser, and we ask that you do that any amount, big or small, which 100 donors in 100 hours, which expires this Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And as Enrico said, if there are 100 donors in 100 hours, then we will see an extra $1,000 gift given toward the campaign to help out. Again, you could give as little as $1, as much as whatever number you want to give, but it's about getting 100 donors in 100 hours between now and Sunday night so that we can get that extra $1,000 donated toward the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society through Enrico's campaign. Enrico, for you, what have you learned about yourself in running this campaign? I mean, you're a father of 3. You are a husband. You are a father of a dog now as well. You have your incredible mom. You have your basketball staff. You have your players, your student athletes on the team. You're a head coach. You're out there recruiting. You're doing 1,000,001 things. And on top of all of that, you're also running this campaign for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. What have you learned about yourself through all of this?
Well, I think the main thing, and I think I already knew, is just that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the blessings I've been blessed with in my life. And you mentioned my family and the support that I have there, and not just my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have
I followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have helped me. I followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have helped me. I followed my career and kind of my immediate family, obviously, but the extended family and, the friends and those along the way that have helped me.
Like you said, you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart to help me. You're taking this very personally. And I'm somebody that, obviously owning my own business, I have to do things as well, right? I have to send out emails and text messages. I'm somebody that, grassroots and to remind people this is how you listen to the show. This is how you can connect with the show. And this is what you could do to be a part of this. And please, and I've asked, give back to that, or make sure you go here and whatnot. And Enrico, I think it's important, and I'm gonna, if you allow me to, I'm gonna speak on your behalf in this. When Enrico sends you a text message or an email or a Facebook message, the times that he's doing it this year, I mean, really, once a year he asks you to donate to the men's basketball program. And I mean, obviously you could donate throughout the year, but on Giving Day, there's a massive, push for that. There's the tip-off dinner as well, and we ask you to be a part of it. The other thing this year is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I got to be real with people out there about this, because I've had to go through it where everybody gave me their email when I was running trivia, and then I would send out emails, and then you get that person, please don't send me another email about trivia. I don't want another email about trivia. Why are you sending me an email about trivia? Because you asked me to. So, I mean, I think what people need to understand is when you're somebody like Enrico or myself, we are all about grassroots, right? We can pay Facebook to run a bunch of ads. We can, do this, do that. We could buy a billboard and whatnot. But we find it imperative to come to the people that we know directly. I have over 3,000 numbers in my phone, and if 3,000 people donated $1, that's $3,000. So to me, when Enrico reaches out to you, when he says, "Can you give back? This is important to me." Understand that you get a lot of information. You get stuff in your mailbox, right, that you didn't ask for. You get this and whatever. But kindly, if you're not going to donate, if it's not something you're going to do, that's your choice. That's your opinion. That's your prerogative. But understand that somebody who is fighting to help a society that helps to try and save the lives of people. We have, there's people, unfortunately, in this world that live in the next door neighbor approach. It's not me, it's my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor has cancer. My next door neighbor's kid has cancer. My next door neighbor got broken into. My next door neighbor just had something stolen. My next door neighbor had a tree fall on his house, but it's not my house, so I don't care. It's not my kid, so I don't care. It's not my mailbox, so it doesn't matter to me. In reality, God has a funny way of showing you that if you don't care about your neighbor, one day you'll be faced with a place where you ask yourself the question, does my neighbor care about me? And when Enrico sends out these emails, these text messages, it doesn't bother your day. It doesn't obstruct you. The Kardashians obstruct my day, okay? There's traffic obstructs my day. There's trying to get to the bank and finding out that the ATM's not working may obstruct my day. But I don't complain about trivial things. And when you get sent a message from a fantastic person trying to help a society to save the lives of our children and adults, our grandparents, our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, make the time to donate $1. And if for some odd reason you can't donate at least $1, thank Enrico for sending you the message, because he thought about you and thought that maybe you'd want to help. And anytime somebody is building a house in a community and they knock on all their neighbors' doors, you wouldn't want your neighbors to slam the door on you and say, "No, I can't carry a brick. No, I can't move my car over this way." You would hope that if you were building a house and you knocked on doors, that at least 5 of those people would come help you build your house. So Enrico's knocking on a bunch of your doors today and tomorrow, asking you to help him build towards something great. The least you can do is pick up a brick, give $1, and help out a society that really needs your help.
Yeah, well said, man. Really well said. And honestly, that is part of this, right? It is a humbling experience when you're getting those kind of feedback messages like, please don't bother me with this, take me off your list, all that stuff. And I understand it completely, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion and their prerogative. And, I certainly don't intend to be pushy, but I am a persistent person, and I do have a cause and a reason for sending that message out there. So nothing's really going to stop me from doing that. But I do sometimes feel like people don't understand that there's more power in the numbers than in the volume of your donation. And even for those people who may have already donated, right? Like you may have already donated, but if you're getting the message again, you know that this challenge is going on this weekend, put in another $1. You may have already donated 50, but guess what? Make it 51 and put in that extra $1 this weekend, and now we'll get 1,000 out of it, right? So there's got to be some kind of you got to have some kind of a vision to understand that there's a reason why you're being asked to do this. It's not, it's not an empty situation. There's value in this. So hopefully we'll get that message across.
Yeah, and helping out this Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, an imperative thing to do. And for you, Enrico, like you said, it's a humbling experience. It's a reminder, to pay it. You mentioned your dad, and I can imagine that for you, in a way, you're honoring your father by doing this, and I'd love to hear more about that and how maybe your dad and his fight can live on through you and what you're trying to do for somebody else.
Yeah, and it's ironic, Dan, that just this morning I got a donation, and I won't mention his name, but you know, and many people know, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I lived in Cleveland until I was almost 3, and then my family moved to Scranton, PA, and but I still have family out there and relatives, and now my brother has, moved his family out there, and they're out there in that area. And one gentleman donated this morning and put a message in the comments. You were too young to remember, but I was your neighbor when your family lived on Carlisle Avenue in Cleveland many years ago. The picture of your dad is how I remember him. And, wishing best wishes to the campaign and to the family. I mean, just the outreach and the outpouring of people across the country has been incredible. A couple weekends ago, we did the 50-state challenge, and, we didn't hit the 50 states, but we got pretty close. And we had, a donation from New Mexico, one from Colorado, one from California, Minnesota, Michigan, Georgia. I mean, all these different places where, I've never had any family ties, but we have a connection. We have a network. There's somebody knows somebody, and so that word gets spread out. And I think, you mentioned pay it forward and my dad, and, my dad was a pay it forward guy. My dad did everything for us. I mean, he was always around us kids, and especially, my brother and I playing sports. I mean, until my sister stopped playing sports, he was coaching her in softball, and, and then he was around us all the time and would work his work schedule around my games to make sure that he could attend my games. Just having his presence around, it was just meaningful and important to me. And, when that was lost, we felt it. And, I can't imagine how many families have been going through the same thing or have experienced the same thing. And so many families that don't even know what that experience is like because they haven't experienced it, thank God. And you hope that they never do. But like you said, Dan, if you keep looking in the house and saying, well, it's not me, it's somebody else, eventually it can get to you. So, you should pay it forward. You should take that initiative to say, hey, I want to do something impactful. And even if it is $1 on a Saturday afternoon to a campaign that I don't really know much about, it's something that's going to go a lot farther than you probably realize.
Yeah, and that like you said, getting a donation of saying, you may not remember me, but I talked about the neighbor approach, and there you get it. I was your neighbor, and that's how I remember your dad. And that gets me worked up here in the studio, and I'm sure it gets you emotional. But I didn't know your dad, and you tell me, and you said that this morning, and I'm getting emotional, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, like, your father, and these are the things where that, like, your family, like, someone's left a legacy. I never met your dad, but the day I get to meet him, hopefully when I'm 100 some odd years old, the day I get to meet your dad in heaven, and I'll tell him right now, he raised one of the greatest people that I've met. He's raised one of the best friends that I know. Somebody who has been in my corner from the day that I met him, who has fought for me from the day that I met him. And your dad, whether you raise $1, $1 million, whether you win 1,000 games as a coach or 500 games as a coach or whatever it is as a coach, to me, your dad, that's all well and good, and I'm sure he'll be there and he would clap. But, you know, the way you describe your dad and who you are as a person, he'd clap on a game you lost. He'd clap if you raised $1. He'd clap if you tried your best. I feel like he's the type of father who would say, son, did you try your best? Yeah, I did, Dad. Well, then good for you. I'm proud of you. And I can honestly tell you that knowing you, I feel like I've gotten to know your father. And if your father was anything like you, I can honestly say that he was a great man because he raised a great man. And I am very, very grateful to do whatever I can to help with whatever cause you have, because in my opinion, if you're anything like your dad, I can't wait to meet him someday.
Man, I tried, when I was telling my story, I was trying to hold back some tears, but now you got me going here, Dan. That wasn't fair.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, you're spot on, 100%. That's the type of father that he was. He had a lot of patience with us. You know, we were a raucous house, just like mine is right now. But he was very patient and very encouraging and supportive. And, you know, he did his best to promote us without interfering. You know, he wasn't one of those dads that got in the way of things. You know, he didn't coach me or my brother in sports, but he stood on the sidelines quietly, didn't talk to coaches, didn't have opinions about things, just like you said, he wanted to know, did you do your best? If you did, I'm proud of you. That was it. And I try every day to take that same approach with my kids. And, you know, I'm coaching my daughter now, Angelina, in AAU. And, you know, it's challenging. I tell you, to coach your child is challenging because, you know, you want them to do better. You see that they can be better, and you want to bring out the best in them. But at the same time, you have to be that, you know, arm around, I love you, I'm proud of you, you know, do your best kind of thing. And, you know, I'm trying to take that approach with her and with Ellen and Marco as well. So it's like you said, you do know my dad because, you know, we are very much the same, and a lot of the things, the approach is the same. The most important thing was to him, and it is to me, his family. And, you know, as long as we have that, we have everything.
Yeah, you know, and that's being part of a greater family and a greater mission, right? You know, giving, and I've said this before, giving back to me, I mean, it makes me excited. It gets me happy, you know, I love, you know, I look forward every year to Marywood Giving Day because and Enrico knows this. When the teams are getting close to their goals, I'll wait and I'll be like, I want to be, you know, like I want to send them over the goal. I want to be a part of this in a big way. I want Enrico to refresh the page and see that, you know, now they're $1 over their mark or they're $20 over it. Giving back is, I love Christmas because I love giving to people. I very rarely think about what I got. It's like, what can I get for my dog Lily? What can I get for Carrie? What can I get for my friends? I love doing stuff for my godson. I went to Disney and I was buying stuff for my nieces and my nephews, and, you know, what can I get them that I know that they don't have? And I'm texting their dad and saying, hey, guess what? Don't buy this when you come down here. I'm really proud of it. I want to give it to them. I can't wait. And so, you know, there's something to be said about giving back. And, you know, in this world, we need it now more than ever. And I'll tell it to you like this, and this is not in any way to promote, you know what, I'm going to take myself out of it. I'm not going to talk about what I did. I'm going to talk about what my dad, I'm going to talk about what my dad did, because I can tell the story from my point of view, but I want to tell about my dad. My dad and I were having dinner and a couple nights ago, and I was talking to him, and I don't know how he got on it, but he said, you know, I said, I got to return my bottles and cans. They're in the back of my car. And I said, you know, I put them in a rainy day fund usually. And my dad was talking to me, and he said, you know, Daniel, he said, I just returned all my stuff, and I don't know, he got like $10 or something. He had a bunch of stuff, and he said, I usually try to give it to somebody that's there. And, my dad will return all the stuff, and then he just gives it to a stranger. And, and my dad, knowing that story from my dad and feeling like I could do a lot better in my life here recently, I went yesterday to return the bottles and cans, and I was excited. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, I got, I'm going to have $3 in cans, and this is fantastic. And there was a guy next to me, and it didn't seem like he was homeless, but it seemed like he wasn't in a great place. And he was lingering around. He was looking for other bottles. He was checking different stuff that maybe was left there. And he had some stuff at the bottom of his cart. And, I had the $3, and I was going to go to turn it in. And I thought to myself, no. And I turned around and I said, here. And he said, no, that's okay. I said, no, take it. And he said, okay. And I walked away, and I thought to myself, if it's $3, and I thought to myself, whether it's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of what you're doing, it's $3. Whether it's giving something to somebody that you don't know, and the funny thing about it is something inside of me told me there's something about this man, there's something about him, and it spoke to my heart. And I kid you not, Enrico, I turned around after I walked to my car, and he was gone. Wow. And you never know who you're helping. And I tell that story for no accolade to me. I tell it more for my dad. My dad paid it forward, and it moved me. And so I credit my dad with his graciousness and his kindness. And my dad was just talking to me about all this money he had to pay in taxes. And, oh, my God, Daniel, you wouldn't believe how much money I had to give back. And so to him, at that point, he could have been like, hey, you know what? I want this $10. I just had to give thousands of dollars to the government. And it was no. It was, I give it to somebody else. I help somebody else. And in the same respect, my dad and I were in line, and there was a little kid in front of us with his dad. And my dad looked at him, and he goes, I love your shirt. Man, I love your jacket. Your jacket's awesome. And it was a Cars jacket for, Lightning McQueen. Mm-hmm. And, I was just looking at my dad saying, my dad's in his 60s. This world could have bittered him. There's a lot of things that have happened that could have made my dad upset. My father's dad passed away when he was in his 30s. And it could have been easy for my dad to say, you know what? Actually, at the age I am right now, 36. And so, my dad could be bitter, but he's decided at 67 years old to try and do better. And, it's stories like that move me every single day. And that's what links me back to your story and your mission of what you're doing is, we're caught up in this life, and then something inside of us just says, you know what? Why not? And I really hope that today our conversation pushes you all to follow the link for Enrico's Leukemia and Lymphoma Society mission here to think, why not $1? Why not $3? Why not $50? Why not $20? Why not $100? Because none of this money is going to me. None of it's going to Enrico. It is all going to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And you never know the person that you're going to help. And you never know when God is just saying hello. And yesterday when I turned around and that guy was gone, I thought to myself, was he ever there? Was that a test? Was that God saying, hey, I've given you a lot. Did you remember to give back? And so I ask you all today, have you remembered to give back? With all the great things that have happened in your life, have you remembered to give back even just a little bit?
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Dan, too, is like some people may have the approach or the idea that, well, if I can't give at least $25 or $50, it's not worth doing it. Well, that's not true, and I don't think anybody should be ashamed of the amount of money that they donate. It's just a matter of donating, right? Just doing something, and that's why I said even $1, $5, $10, whatever it is, it's going to help somebody else a lot more down the road than it might help you today. And so just those few dollars that are in your pocket, the change in your pocket, just to donate that is a huge help and contribution to the campaign, and especially this weekend as we're trying to promote the 100 donors in 100 hours. So if people can donate and help support the cause, that would be tremendous. I mean, there's other ways to get involved too, and I think that's the other part of this discussion I wanted to share is we have a big event coming up On Wednesday, we have a cornhole event, a fundraising event that I've partnered with Northeast PA Cornhole, NEPA Cornhole, a group that runs tournament events here in the Lackawanna County and beyond area in Pennsylvania. Tremendous program group. They've done a great job building up their brand and their tournaments, and they've decided to partner with me in this event. So we're going to be at the Hilton Scranton on Wednesday night for cornhole, and there's both competitive and social division. Again, most of that information is found on my social media. You can look me up on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. All that information is out there, and you can get connected to that program for sure. Dan, you may have some links that you can share with that as well, so on your networks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of wanted to just give you free reign as a final note here, Enrico, of anything else you want to share about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society mission that you have and why people should donate back. And I want to let you all know that are listening live, thank you for being here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, but this will be shared through all of our outlets. You will be able to listen back to this interview with Enrico Mastroianni and learn how to give back, and the links will be connected to this in our and for those of you that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube right now, you'll be able to see this. But now, after this show is live, Enrico's interview here on Wake Up Call today will be shared on Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, MixLR, and the new editions of Amazon Music and Audible. You will be able to go back and listen to this, and we will have a link there for you to donate as well. So there'll be plenty of places for you to reach out and links back to this to continue to get the information that you may need and to support Enrico as well as supporting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Any further notes you want to make?
Yeah, I mean, there's always ways to help, and even if you don't want to donate or you don't have the means to donate dollars, we're looking for still gift baskets for our raffle event at the cornhole event on Wednesday. We need volunteers to step in and help us run the event, facilitate things. We're also still accepting sponsors at this point for cornhole and for the gala, the grand finale gala on May 18th. There's plenty of ways to get involved. I've sent out thousands of contacts, all this information. But if anybody wants to reach me, you can do that by calling or texting. And I don't mind giving my number over the air, Dan. If anybody wants to help with this cause, I'm certainly willing to share it. It's 570-954-8252. Like I said, we're accepting donations. We're accepting volunteers, raffle gift baskets, gift cards, partners, sponsors, the works. It's just whatever we can do to continue to raise awareness and raise funds for this noble cause is what we're trying to do. The campaign ends on May 18th, and as I said, there's a grand finale gala where the boy and girl of the year will be there honored on stage, and it'll be a huge black tie event, great event for the community, and I'm just happy to be a part of it and honored that I was considered for this nomination.
Yeah, and something just came across my desk speaking about God saying, hey, are you listening? And the simple statement was, God will reveal his glory through you. And so through all the work that you can give, either by donating your money, your time, whatever you can do, donating a gift basket, whatever you can give to Enrico Mastroianni's mission for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is greatly appreciated. Some can give of their time, some can give a gift card, some can give their money, some can do it all. And whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate your help and your assistance. And this has, once again, been another edition of Pacer Pride here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We appreciate you, and we thank you so much for being a part of this. Enrico, as always, I thank you for all that you've done for Marywood University, for the Scranton, Pennsylvania community, for the Atlantic East Conference, as well as, as more than anything, as a friend, as a father, as a husband. You taking everything you've done and adding Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's donation and mission right now in this year is, I mean, it's been a great feat for you. And, once again, with everything you did for Marywood's Giving Day, the team passed what the goal was as well, and well past your goal. So, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing, and know that it never goes unnoticed or unseen. And like I said before, your father is going to be so proud of your efforts, and please, whatever I can do to help, you let me know, and I'll be more than happy to stand arm in arm with you, because if you told me you were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean right now, standing up for something, I would say, what rock are you on? What sandbar are you on in the middle of the ocean? And let's go do this together.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. That's a huge bit of encouragement from you, and you know how I feel about you, and I appreciate everything you do for me and have done for me and for my program, and just in general for Marywood University. So thank you for that. And I can't say enough about the worthwhile cause that we're supporting in this, and I just hope that everyone will just give it a thought, give it some time, and then come back and give it a second thought, and more importantly, share it with anyone that you think would be willing to help, because it is something that is worthwhile to support.
That coming from Enrico Mastroianni, talking about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society giving back. The donation link is on all of our social media. It'll be shared again today for you and throughout the weekend. We're looking for 100 donors in 100 hours. And once that happens by this Sunday, April 24th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, when it all wraps up, there will be an extra $1,000 donated to the cause as well. So please make sure you donate, even if it be $1. Enrico, thank you as always for everything. Give a shout out to Elena as well as Angelina, my guy Marco, of course, to Miss Jamie, to Bruno, and to the family. And when you see Mom, give her a big hug from me and let her know that I send her my love, okay?
I appreciate that, man. Thanks, Dan.
All right, man. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you.
See you. That coming from Enrico Mastroianni once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Folks, I'm not going to ask you to donate or give back to something if I don't think it's a good cause, if I don't think it's meaningful, and the people obviously behind it, I know if they're incredible, then I'm going to throw it out there. And so I just cannot tell you enough to follow that link, even if it's $1, and donate to Enrico Mastroianni. Lymphoma is something that is hit home for someone that I love near and dear, and it's time to give back. So do what you can, please, whatever you can. This isn't a telethon. This is a person from my heart asking you to give from your heart. Time, a gift basket, volunteer, or make a donation, or some or all of the above. Do whatever you can to help out, because a little goes a long way. And in this world now more than ever, when you're out there by yourself just repairing, right? You're just fixing something, maybe an awning came down and you're out there and you're just doing what you can to repair it, and you're sweating and you're putting the screws in and you got the hammer out, and then all of a sudden your neighbor comes over and says, "Hey, need some help?" That is what we all need right now more than ever, is to walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, how can I help?" And you know how you can help today with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and Enrico's specific mission. So please give back today. We'll take a step aside for a fast break to wrap up today's show. We'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Thank you for being with us. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday Thursday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavocollis.com. That's myavocollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is absolutely positively worth the drive every single time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market today and every Tuesday through Sunday for their general store, their indoor dining, and of course their drive-through window. Make sure you get out there and support local at Millhouse Market. Fantastic food, from their breakfast pizzas to their meatball sandwich, their Cobb salad, their M&M cookies, their raspberry muffins, all that they have to offer. The sun-dried tomato mozzarella bread. Fantastic place, the Millhouse Market, there for you and on the downloadable app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. You can also call 315-298-4104. That's 315-298-4104 to place your order today to the Millhouse Market, and make sure that you give back to those that have given back to our community for years upon years. We thank the Millhouse Market, led by the incredible chef Rebecca Alford and owner, and we ask that you head out there today from wherever you are to 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, and you can get directions right on the app itself. Worth the drive every single time. Back here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, we always appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank all of my fantastic guests from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. A big thanks to everyone here with us today. A big shout out to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for LEAD, which is the acronym that stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Top Dog of the Week, where we honored Rob Konrad, number 44, the last to wear it at Syracuse. Also wore it with Dan Marino, Ricky Williams, and company with the Miami Dolphins. And a big shout out to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding for bringing us the Top Dog of the Week. And of course, we're getting to spend some time in an all-new Pacer Pride, which comes to you every single Friday to round out the broadcast around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And this time we got to speak with Enrico Mastroianni about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, where he has a specific personal mission this year to try and help the society and hopefully finding a cure, and obviously being able to give 100% of everything that comes in, donations as well as gift baskets and different things that you can do, and donating of your time as well. Giving all of that back 100% to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society as a means to hopefully eradicate leukemia and lymphoma someday, and for now at least give money toward finding a cure and for treatment and whatnot for those that need it. And for everybody that has it, may you go into remission and never have it again. May anyone who is going through that right now or has a loved one going through that, I pray for your health, your safety, your happiness, and for God's healing hand to be upon you today and always. That anyone who has it will get rid of it, that anyone who doesn't have it will never get it, and one day will be able to say leukemia and lymphoma are no more. So by the grace of God, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. I pray and I hope for nothing but the best when it comes to everyone that needs our prayers and our well wishes with that or with anything right now. So a big shout out to Enrico Mastroianni for everything that he's done. Inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios, we always appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT and Facebook.com/LiveNowDT on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. You can also find our show in our archives that are worldwide on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, TuneIn, and more, including our recent additions of Amazon Music and Audible. Always appreciate everybody that goes and searches Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these outlets. And a big thanks to Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, PB&J's Lunchbox, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com and they will deliver to you from anywhere in the United States. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, and definitely check out our recent dual special with Casey Brown, state champion of CBA football, as their head coach, where we got to sit down and him and I got to talk, and then we got to have a roundtable, homegrown discussion with a head football coach in Casey Brown in Christian Brothers Academy, and a co-owner who has worked up the ranks in Pete Green at Mother's Cupboard, and a business owner and broadcaster born here as well in myself, Dan Tortora. Make sure you don't miss either one of those specials, airing on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. They're also on our Instagram feed at wakeupcall_DT. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is fins up all day, every day, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and all throughout each month. We appreciate having the Lemoyne Dolphins here with us. A big-time fins up to Lemoyne, and they're with us every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for Dolphin Time. Every first and third Wednesday, our new episodes of AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. We got to have the exclusive first conversation with Athletics Director of Lemoyne, Bob Beretta, on realignment, reclassification that could see Lemoyne staying at Division II in the NCAA or moving to Division III or Division I. That story broke for you and is available on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. The exclusive update to that story is also available to you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So make sure you check that out today, and we appreciate that. Every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we air new episodes of the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into stories of student athletes, coaches, as well as administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can check out the entire library by going to the Lemoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com, as well as by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe. And we're going to be doing something really cool with the Dolphins, making history at Cafe Kubal, as they will join us on site on location to showcase Lemoyne and Lemoyne women's lacrosse with head coach Liz Bevel, who will be joining us this Monday, April 25th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time at the 324 West Water Street location in Syracuse for Cafe Kubal. Come in, grab a cup of your favorite coffee, chai tea, and so much more, as well as you can get any of their awesome breakfasts while you sit and watch the show, and of course all of their tasty treats at Cafe Kubal at the Creek Walk Commons. We'll be there this Monday with Liz Bevel from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, showcasing Lemoyne, Cafe Kubal, and the 324 West Water Street location, just minutes from campus of Lemoyne. So make sure you come and see us this Monday, and you can get more information by going to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood Pacers. You know that from our Pacer Pride specials we do every Friday, including today's with Enrico Mastroianni. Come back every Friday in hour number 2 for our fantastic showcasing of the administration as well as student athletes and coaches with Marywood University in an unprecedented way that you've never seen or heard before. Pacer Pride comes to you every single month, and of course you can see our archives on the Marywood tab of wakeupcalldt.com. You can also go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and find everything there. And of course, you can get more information on your Pacers by going to marywoodpacers.com. The Bryan and Stratton Bobcats of Syracuse are also proud exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can find your Bobcats in the Bobcat Buzz there for you every single month with exclusive specials featuring the Bryan and Stratton Bobcats administration, coaches, and student athletes all throughout the year. We just had the opportunity to be at Cafe Kubal this week with Alex Grigorita. You can go back and watch that on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. And a shout out to Cafe Kubal, a great local business with a great local team, and Alex Grigorita being there with us, speaking on his women's soccer team at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, as well as speaking on the upcoming Men's FIFA World Cup, as well as the NWSL and the MLS. A lot of great conversation within that 2-hour span that we were there with Alex Grigorita, so don't miss out on going back and watching that today. And more Bobcat Buzz is coming up for you this month, as well as all throughout the year with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats. Get more information by going to BSCSYR tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, as I mentioned, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And for the Bobcats, you can also go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. I want to thank you all for listening in and watching this week of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I am extremely honored and privileged to be able to talk about all of the subjects we got to talk about this week. Our Easter Monday special that you can go back and watch, as well as spending April 19th with Alex Grigorita on site at Cafe Kubal's 401 South Salina Street location in downtown Syracuse. Of course, Mike Sofka being with me to continue our draft analysis by position this week, as well as having the exclusive update on reclassification and realignment, as well as the success of spring sports at Lemoyne with Lemoyne AD Bob Beretta. We also had the opportunity to spend some time on the NBA playoffs with Dave Paziak. Yesterday's broadcast, Papa Joe was here with us, and we got to talk about the future of the Dome and the fact that it will not be called the Carrier Dome anymore. And, of course, today, the annoying moment of the week, as well as lead, the top dog of the week, Rob Konrad, and, of course, Enrico Mastroianni for an all-new Pacer Pride. I want to thank everybody that's been a part of this week, and I want to thank Cafe Kubal for being our exclusive studio partner every single week, all throughout the week, and a big shout out to them on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, as well as inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and at their drive-through location at the corner of Route 31 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. Find us on all of our social media. We have a lot of stuff that's gone on this week, a lot of things with CBA, and a lot of great content for you to connect yourself to. Find it on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, the Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Awesome specials with Marywood University, Lemoyne College, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, CBA, and so much more. Check them all out on our social media. And, of course, we look forward to talking with you very soon. As always, for each and every single one of you, God bless, no stress, do your best. Have a fantastic day, and I cannot wait to talk with you again. Be well and always reach out. If you need anything, you can reach out to us on social media, even if it's a prayer. We'd be more than happy to do that for you. God bless you all, and I'll talk